Welcome back to another episode of Spilling the Tea with Dr. T. Gabriel G.
And Lava Lee, our mascot. Yeah, another episode is coming your way. I'm super excited, as usual, to talk about some more men's health related issues and
Questions and
topics,
wow,
concerns, all those things.
all the good things.
And
Science.
science. So I'm excited to discuss this one. It's interesting. Definitely a great way to enhance your
Experience.
abilities if this is a concern for you. And hopefully we'll be able to provide you some tips, education, information around the topic. But today's topic is
How can I last longer?
in bed
In bed.
specifically. And it's mostly focused on men
Right.
trying to last longer. And then there's two sort of separations between concerns that typically are arising from wanting to last longer in bed. One would be something called premature ejaculation, where things climax too soon. And the other is just having a poor sexual stamina, meaning you just kind of can't keep up with your endurance or keep sex going as long as you would like to reach climax or to entertain your partner or both. And
So we have two different ways here to enhance things.
yeah, so we'll talk about what's different about them, how you can improve either of them
Or both.
and both of them and get yourself having fun for a longer period of time.
We just learned in a previous video that if you're having better sex, you're also happier and everything that's good,
Just seems to flow.
you know.
There's a lot of benefits to sex, and so we certainly don't want it to be a short experience. That's typically not what either partner is looking for. And yeah, there's a lot of importance there, especially relationship building, intimacy building, bonding. So let's find out how we can
Yeah.
make it as long as possible.
Let's hear the secrets and the tips that you have in store for us.
Let's go.
So first, let's understand the science behind premature ejaculation. So what is the definition of premature ejaculation?
So premature ejaculation is a relatively common concern among men. Typically, 1 in 3 men at some point will experience premature ejaculation in their lifetime. So again, relatively common, and it's often characterized by uncontrollable ejaculation that occurs either before or right after penetration, leading to sexual dissatisfaction and typically some sort of emotional distress. While premature ejaculation can be concerning, it's typically not more of a serious medical condition or some sort of underlying cause that's more serious, resulting in premature ejaculation. And the good thing is there are many ways you can manage it and improve those symptoms to get you having a longer lasting and more satisfying sexual experience.
Good, it's reversible.
Yeah, it's reversible.
It happens to everyone. It can happen at any time, any moment, or
Well, it doesn't happen to everyone. It happens to 1 in 3, so 33%. But that's a pretty big chunk, and it can happen to
Can happen
anyone.
to everyone.
Yeah, and it can be reversed if you take the appropriate steps. And there is some work you got to do. It doesn't happen super easily, but we'll get into that.
So what is poor sexual stamina?
Right. So in contrast to premature ejaculation, where that's more about you having a climax too early, poor sexual stamina has really nothing to do with climax, and really it's more about the ability to maintain your stamina or endurance throughout sex. So these people often are having difficulty just to get through the encounter. Typically, their partner hasn't hit climax yet, or even they themselves want to continue, but they're fatigued, they feel as though they're too tired to carry on, or they're so worn out that they can't stay sexually interested or aroused. And so the problem with sexual stamina issues is typically there can be an underlying medical condition or medical problem associated with this, right? So typically these men have poor fitness levels, maybe they have cardiovascular disease, or something is limiting their ability to exercise or do cardio, as sex can be cardio for many of us. And so
We learned that in the previous video.
yes.
Sex is cardio.
Exactly. And so these people, again, have no issue reaching climax too soon. It's more about the fact that they can't control sort of their endurance or allow themselves to reach sort of their full potential throughout sex. And other than medical conditions being responsible for causing a poor sexual stamina, other things we look out for are lifestyle factors, like if there's any substance abuse, if there's issues with their diet, if they're not exercising enough, and even mental health concerns like anxiety, stress, or depression can contribute to a poor sexual stamina. So really, you still have to take a look at the whole picture and see what could be the most likely culprit to get these patients feeling better.
Is sexual stamina the same as libido?
That's a great question. So libido is more about your sex drive or arousal or like the want to have sex, whereas sexual stamina is more like the ability to complete sex.
Ah,
So if you have a poor sexual stamina and you're not able to finish or to complete, a successful sexual encounter, that's going to facilitate the possibility that you could reduce your libido or, impact your sex drive, because the last thing you want to do is go into sex thinking it's going to be amazing and then it's not, and then you start not wanting to do it again. And so yeah, so sexual arousal is our libido, whereas sexual stamina is our ability to complete the sexual rendezvous, so to
makes
speak.
sense.
Yeah,
So sexual stamina is not the same thing as libido, but they are connected and related. So one thing can lead to another. Poor libido
exactly.
can lead to, no, poor stamina can lead to poor libido.
Right, exactly.
So why are those issues so important?
Right. So many men have these concerns. Of course, our sexual health and our sexual satisfaction is really important to our confidence, our self esteem. And so they try to find ways to improve their sexual abilities, not only to please their partner, but to please themselves. As we talked about previously, sex is so important with our overall health in many capacities. So, of course, many men out there that have these concerns want to try and fix them the best way possible and get back to having a normal sex life. For those who were able to have no issues in the past, or if they've always had these issues, they're trying to find a path forward where they can leave those issues behind.
Yeah, I feel like for those people that suffer from low stamina or low libido or all those sexual issues, they always compare themselves to their old self and they
Hmm.
want to get it back, they want to fix it. A lot of times they don't know how to get back to the golden age of their
Right.
lives, but obviously, like we're learning in the past videos, everything
It's
can
connected
be
and can
fixed.
be fixed. Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And that's really what we see more so with that decrease in sexual stamina. A lot of times those patients will have had a normal healthy sex life for years, and then all of a sudden they're either less fitness oriented or less physically active, which starts to impact their sexual performance. Whereas most of the patients that have premature ejaculation, oftentimes, not always, but oftentimes this is the first sort of experience that
Wow.
they're having sexually. And so not only is, of course, your first encounters going to be a lot of emotion, a lot of distress, confusion, but then to add in premature ejaculation can make it even more anxiety provoking. And so having tips and tricks to maneuver around that is essential so that they can move beyond and, of course, not allow these things to impact their overall self esteem and their sexual health in general.
And I think with sexual health, it's so hard to find the answers because if those things are happening to you, it's hard to have a dialogue about those issues because you feel embarrassed. You
Hmm.
don't want to feel embarrassed. You don't want to talk to your partner about it. So we kind of like hide it.
Yeah, you just kind of keep it in, and
Yeah.
then it just gets worse and worse and compounds on itself. And yeah, that's definitely a major thing. I see a lot of patients, especially when they're younger, they're still maybe going to a pediatrician, who sees patients till they're 21. They're maybe going to their family doctor who also sees their mom and their dad and their grandparents. They don't want to bring up concerns of premature ejaculation or their sexual health with this doctor who's also taking care of
Right.
their whole family and been taking care of them since they were a kid. Also, of course, if you're in a new relationship and this issue has been going on for a while, you don't know how to talk to a new partner. Hey, by the way, this is something that I've been
Right.
dealing with. They may act negatively towards your, willingness to be open, which then facilitates the problem to worsen because more anxiety. And so it becomes a snowball. And
Snowball.
really, it is difficult to find a good source of communication around the topic. It's good to find good resources, which are plentiful online, but sometimes even then it's hard to find which one you can trust
Right.
or who is easy to listen to and you can relate to. So hopefully this will be somewhat relatable as we get into it and can help some people out there.
So how premature ejaculation is diagnosed?
That's a great question. So the American Urological Association has a very interesting criteria. It's kind of vague, but they want you to hit all of these three things, which I think is unusual because if you have any of them, in my opinion, it's premature ejaculation. But they define it as a consistent ejaculation that occurs within 1 minute of the onset of sexual activity or a difficult time controlling or managing your ejaculation time. And then finally, if you're having distress from your sexual experience, being that you're ejaculating too soon and that's causing you some sort of mental anguish, these all would qualify you for the diagnosis of premature ejaculation.
And what are the causes for that?
So there are three different factors that can play into the cause of premature ejaculation. These are going to be psychological factors, biological factors, and then relationship distress. So of course, psychological factors are going to be things like stress, anxiety, depression. All of these things can result in changes in the chemicals in our brain, as well as our hormones, which can also alter our ability to climax on demand. And then biological causes, so serotonin imbalances, believe it or not, in the
Oh,
brain have been linked to premature ejaculation. As previously we discussed, anxiety and
right.
depression, these can cause serotonin imbalances. So those kind of go both psychological, biological. We also see that some people have more sensitive genitalia, so that sensitivity can certainly increase the risk that you're gonna climax too soon, as well as other physical conditions that just make your nerves more sensitive in general, which there are a lot of neurological disorders that can do that. And then finally, of course, relationship distress. So if you have poor communication with your partner, if you feel like your relationship is not going well, these can be actual causes for symptoms of premature ejaculation, which is interesting because there are some patients that are normal, healthy, having a normal, healthy sex life and get into a bad relationship, and premature ejaculation can start. And they're like, what's going on? Why is this happening? And it all boils down to the fact that maybe their partner is causing them distress and then further facilitating more distress, and it becomes a snowball effect.
Speaking of distress, how those symptoms of premature ejaculation affect our mental health?
Yeah, so premature ejaculation can have a major impact on our psychology. So it can certainly cause stress, anxiety from the frustration, disappointment, lack of confidence, poor self esteem that can occur when you're not able to please your partner, please yourself. You often feel out of control of your own body. So all of those thoughts can just further facilitate a worsening of your premature ejaculation and your mental health in general. And then, of course, as these psychological concerns start to spill over, that starts to impact your relationship, especially if you're not able to communicate well with your partner about what's going on. They may think there's something wrong with them, something wrong with you, and that further facilitates your isolation from the relationship. And then again, continues this snowball effect, which really makes it difficult to improve your overall symptoms and your overall sexual health.
So, yeah, when it comes to improving symptoms of premature ejaculation, what are some behaviors that can be helpful?
Yeah, so there are some behavioral techniques that you can learn that can be practiced over and over
Ooh.
again to help improve your ejaculation time and your overall sexual satisfaction. One of these is called the stop start method, and the other is called the squeeze method. And both of these are things that you would do throughout sexual encounters to help to practice and prolong your ejaculation time.
Okay, so I have to ask you, we have to learn,
We have
right?
to
We're
learn
here because of learning science,
science,
all for the science,
health, fitness.
well being. Okay, so what is this stop start technique and how do you do?
So the stop start technique is pretty much exactly how it sounds. So you would start sexual intercourse just like you normally would, and once you're getting close to climax, you stop. Either that means stop your movements, whether that means completely remove yourself from the position, but you take a break. And whenever that sort of feeling has dissipated or you're no longer feeling like you're ready to climax, you start again. And then when you feel like you're going to climax again, if it's not time, you take another break and you continue that process over and over again until you're ready to finally hit climax. And clinical evidence has shown that the more you practice this method, the more likely it is you can prolong that ejaculation time. Of course, you want to have a partner who understands what you're doing, what your goal is, and why you're doing that. So that can be a little bit difficult, especially if you're in a new relationship or you are embarrassed to talk about the issue. But I think that's, again, a great way to open up communication, talk to your partner, say, this is what's going on. This is how we can fix it. Let's make it as fun as possible. And, a halftime break, like we talked about before, can be a nice way to reset before, continuing forward.
Yeah, as we discussed, taking breaks is okay. It's
Yeah.
okay to take breaks. So take some time, drink some water, stay hydrated. It's very
Stay
important.
hydrated.
You
We like
know,
to drink water.
it's okay to take breaks and obviously want to talk to your partner. Hey, here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna
Right.
do halftime show, drink some water,
And then we'll get back into it.
get back into it.
Yeah. And maybe there'll be a few halftime shows.
Who knows?
Just Keep the communication open. That's going to make
Yeah.
it a lot easier for you.
So after the stop start, we're going to the squeeze. What is the squeeze technique?
You may be familiar with this one.
Ooh.
So, very similarly to the stop start technique, you're going to start with intercourse or whatever sexual activity that you are engaging in. And when you're getting close to climax, you want to try and get as close as possible to that feeling. And when you feel it, when you know what's about to happen, you stop and you place pressure around the base of the penis. So you would either grip it with your thumb and your forefinger or whichever fingers you prefer, and you apply gentle pressure. And what that does is it tries to reduce the blood flow and some of the sensations of the nerves in the genitalia to try and pause things. And so once that pressure is applied, you wait until that feeling has completely gone. And once you're no longer feeling like you're about to climax, you resume activity. And again, you can do this over and over and over again to prolong your ejaculation time as long as is comfortable for you. But this is another great technique. And you can actually kind of do both of them together,
Oh, you can
I
do both.
guess. I mean, why not? So you can compound them and do the start, stop, squeeze, stop, start, all of that.
So let's recap. How long do you squeeze it?
So it's not necessarily about an amount of time. Everyone's going to be different. So
Right.
you squeeze until you feel as though you're not going to climax.
Mm-hmm.
So it's going to be different for everybody.
Right.
But if it feels like it's too long, then you probably shouldn't be squeezing that long. It shouldn't take too long to see that feeling sort of dissipate.
That makes sense. So you can combine techniques. You can squeeze as long as you want, as long as you're not hurting yourself or
Right.
not doing anything harmful.
Exactly.
And yeah, those are some very basic, easy techniques that
Yeah.
you can do.
Exactly. And you can, again, the more you practice them, the more likely you won't
Right.
need them as often. So it's like fitness or exercise,
Kind of like a workout
like a workout.
because you're already doing cardio.
And you're doing cardio. So
Wow.
this is a sex. It can be the best workout of all time if you just throw in some extra activities here and there. Stop, start, and squeeze.
So besides the stop, start, and squeeze methods, are there any other methods that can help you with premature ejaculation?
Yeah, so there's actually something called the Kegel exercises, which we've talked about in a previous video. So Kegels are when you try to tighten the muscles of your pelvic floor. They support your bladder and your bowel, as well as all the other organs in our pelvis. And of course, these muscles can be really helpful to help us control ejaculation, as well as many other functions. How you would try to work out these muscles is by trying to contract the same muscles you would use if you were urinating and wanting to stop abruptly. So it's sort of that like tightening feeling that you feel. And you can do them anywhere. You could do them sitting down, you can do them when no one notices, you can do them laying down, whatever. And you can contract them for 3 to 5 minutes, a few times a day. And that's enough to really get enough exercise there to build and strengthen those pelvic floor muscles. Of course, they weaken as we age and we don't typically work them out very much. And so having an ability to remind yourself to, hey, let's make sure that the pelvic floor is in check can help prolong ejaculation. Even for those of us who don't have premature ejaculation, there are many benefits to Kegel exercises. They can help with erections. They can help with prolonging sexual activity in general, and keeping our bladder and bowel healthy. So Kegels for all.
It's important to work out your pelvic floor.
Yeah, why not?
Why not?
There's a lot of people too that have pelvic floor disorders,
Wow.
and that can also be another topic we talked about at some point. But it's important to be aware of those muscles and how they respond to stress and anxiety. A lot of us can actually hold stress in our pelvis muscles,
Wow.
which keeps them really tight. So working them out can help reduce that. So
Yeah.
again, everyone can be Kegling it up.
I mean, you should add Kegel exercise to your workout routine.
Why
Why
not?
not?
You can literally do it while you're bench pressing or doing bicep curls. I'm not sure squatting would be the most appropriate time.
No.
There's a lot going on down there.
But
But all the other ones,
yeah, it's okay to work out your pelvic floor.
it is.
You should,
You
actually.
should.
Right?
Absolutely.
Other than those techniques, are there psychological ways that you can improve your premature ejaculation?
Yeah, so there's a lot of things you can do in regards to improving your mental health, or if you have any psychological stress that could be causing premature ejaculation. Of course, if you have chronic anxiety or depression, talk to your primary care doctor. They can consider putting you on appropriate medication to treat those concerns. Of course, if those medications are effective, it's going to help improve your overall symptoms and reduce the risk of them causing things like premature ejaculation. And then, of course, you think of behavioral therapy. You can see a therapist to talk about these issues, Definitely a healthy way to have someone that's non-biased, not judgmental, to be listening to your concerns. And they may help you develop some habits and behaviors that avoid these negative thought patterns that can often trigger us to go into these anxious states that can cause premature ejaculation. That's something called cognitive behavioral therapy. It's basically how you retrain your brain to think more positively and avoid sort of that negative feedback loop that negative thoughts can cause. And so, yeah, so therapy, again, the medications that are going to be often used to treat anxiety and depression will also be beneficial to treat symptoms of premature ejaculation, as they do help to improve that serotonin balance, like we talked about previously.
The serotonin is always present.
Serotonin is always doing something.
The main character of the
Absolutely.
pleasure.
Yeah, of the brain.
That might seem a dumb question, but is premature ejaculation ED?
So, erectile dysfunction really covers a broad sort of spectrum of different disorders. Typically, in the standard erectile dysfunction diagnosis, that person is unable to maintain or achieve an erection. So, it's more about the rigidity of their erections, not so much about premature ejaculation. But premature ejaculation is an erectile disorder. So, technically, it's under the umbrella, just depending on how specific you want to get. But many patients can have both. And what's
Right.
interestingly enough, there are medications that can be used to treat both. And so, moving in sort of the next topic, which what medications can be used to help improve symptoms of premature ejaculation, oftentimes the phosphodiesterase 5 inhibitors, as we talked about in a previous um, episode. So those PDE5 inhibitors like sildenafil, the generic version of Viagra, tadalafil, the generic version of Cialis, they can both be used to help not only you achieve and maintain a better erection, but also premature ejaculation. It can reduce the risk of that and allow you to maintain your erection after ejaculation, which some patients with premature ejaculation, that's really their goal. They want to just continue to satisfy their partner. They've already been satisfied. So it's about maintaining that erection so they can continue throughout sex. But yeah, so that is a medication that can be used. Also, as we just talked about, some of those psychological aspects of having premature ejaculation, that serotonin imbalance. Often you would be treated with an SSRI like Paxil or Prozac, Zoloft. These are the brand name versions. They are also clinically appropriate to treat premature ejaculation. So SSRIs, improving our serotonin in our brain, can help to prolong sex and prolong the ejaculation point. So those are the medications that you'd be able to consider. Again, of course, talking to a doctor, seeing what's appropriate for you based on your medical history and what adverse reactions can occur. But if you have premature ejaculation, you've tried your own route of trying to improve, techniques, and it's not helping, definitely talk to a doctor, because again, allowing these symptoms to fester and get worse is only going to further damage your confidence and self-esteem, making the symptoms even more difficult to.
And then the snowball effect again.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you don't want that, because then you're not sleeping well, and then your testosterone levels are low, and then everything falling apart and
very fast.
Very fast.
Yeah.
As we're learning here in this channel and those videos, it's very important to have a balance, well-being, having,
Yeah. Have balance.
You have to have balance.
And like you mentioned, one domino falls and it's an effect that trickles everywhere.
Yeah.
And before you know it, you're having medical conditions secondary to your poor sex drive, or your inability to orgasm, or you're orgasming too fast. So
and one is related to the other. One causes the other, that causes the other one. So it's like,
there's definitely a snowball effect taking place. But hey, hopefully people out there who are watching this video are trying to improve the way they feel, and we help you get there.
That's what we're here for.
Yeah.
So we talk about techniques and medications, but can lifestyle changes improve premature ejaculation?
Yeah, so of course, lifestyle factors like how often you exercise, your diet, your stress level, all of those things can trickle down into pretty much every aspect of our health, especially sexual health, and can facilitate damage to, our overall erections and ability to have satisfying sex. And so certainly if these are parts of your life that are not in line and you're experiencing symptoms of premature ejaculation, do consider increasing that exercise, making sure you are following a healthy, balanced diet, making sure your stress is under control, things like meditation, yoga, whatever you can add in. Cardio can be a great stress relief for a lot of people. And really, the majority of it, lifestyle wise, is going to trickle down to stress. So, how
Mm.
much is stress impacting your life? And as stress can be a major factor causing premature ejaculation. So, doing all these things to really remove as much stress and give yourself an overall sense of the healthiest version of you is going to help to improve the symptoms that you're experiencing.
I think diet and exercise are common answers for a lot of those questions that we have here because when you have a balanced diet and you exercise daily, you feel happier, you're more in control of your life. And I feel this is the overall theme to feel better and to improve your sexual health in general.
Yeah, really, your whole health beyond sexual health and really every facet of your life. If you're having concerns and you're feeling that weight and pressure of getting a little bit older or whatever could be going on, the first thing to try and reflect on is what am I eating and how active am I being? Because those are really the building and basic blocks to, a fundamental healthy life. And so some people, again, this isn't their thing. You don't have to follow a specific diet. We're not here to pressure anyone about that or, exercise all the time if that's not, something you're interested in. But if you have these concerns and these are areas that you're willing to put work into to try and improve how you feel, they're definitely worth it and can be done without the need for you having to talk to a doctor
Right.
or spend a lot of money. So it really gives you a little bit more of the power back to be more in control and build on that confidence of you sort of taking charge.
I think the biggest secret to find an exercise is to find something that you truly enjoy. It's either a treadmill or bicycle. Just find something that you can do on a daily basis. Find some sort of entertainment. Like, for example, for us, we like to do the stationary bike at the gym and we find things to watch on our phone, something to keep us entertained, something to keep us enjoying the workout because
Right.
otherwise, obviously, you're not gonna love exercising for 30 minutes, an hour
Right.
daily, right? It's hard at the beginning, but if you find something that is pleasurable, you're gonna build that into your routine. So then you can start seeing a difference, not just in your sexual health, but also in your well being in general.
Yeah, I completely agree. And yeah, for some people, it's really about going to the gym for the first few times, kind of looking around, seeing things you enjoy doing, seeing things you don't want to do, finding those things that are at least the easiest for you to accomplish so that you can go there. Again, we like the stationary bike. Some people like the treadmill, some people like the elliptical. And in some ways, we're sitting on the bike almost every day, and it is, finding a movie to watch to keep us entertained. Sometimes it's just about being distracted. I don't want to be there. I want it to be over as quick as possible. So I listen to music or things that are going to distract me to make the time go by faster. But again, if that's not for you, we totally get it. But it can be a really helpful way to improve premature ejaculation symptoms and really pretty much any other medical concern or condition that could be progressing
Yeah.
and affecting you and your sexual health. So something to think about.
Try exercise. Well,
Thanks.
first start with Kegel exercise. That's an easy one.
Yeah, I think Kegels are the perfect first exercise.
Ah.
If you are not into it, you can do it from home. You don't even have to get up out of the chair. And yeah, a great way to dip your toe in.
What about for people with poor sexual stamina? What can they do to last longer?
Right. So for people out there who are just trying to improve their sexual stamina, they're not able to complete their sexual encounter to the level that they're looking for, or maybe like they used to. And for those that don't have premature ejaculation that are trying to increase the amount of time that they get to experience sex, you want to look at a few things. Of course, number one is your cardiovascular function. So, how often are you exercising? What is your fitness level like? Because those things, unfortunately, do go hand in hand. Sex is a cardio based activity,
Yeah.
it's an exercise. And so, if you're looking to prolong it, you're obviously going to need to have a bank of energy and a bank of stamina, which is usually developed in the gym or outside or anywhere where you can really, do cardio. Of course, weightlifting is also really helpful. Building up your muscles will be basically energy storage compartments in your body that are able to respond when you need more energy. Also, you want to think about things like your anxiety and stress levels. These are going to be huge in impacting your sexual stamina and how long you're able to last, as well as how long you're able to stay aroused and sort of in the encounter. So, appropriate anxiety or depression treatment options, like, you can consider seeing a therapist. You can talk to your primary doctor about, starting medication. And then, of course, you can also do Kegel exercises. As we mentioned, the Kegels come back again because they're a great way to enhance your pelvic floor. We use all of those muscles for a prolonged period during sex, and we really don't use them elsewhere. And so, if you're not really into going to the gym, you don't like cardio, and they're looking for something that they can do at home or really anywhere that can help prolong their sexual encounters, Kegel exercises. I'm doing one right now. And then, of course, if you are stressed, you want to sort of monitor that, find ways to improve it. It can be as simple as talking to your partner and opening up about communication or issues in the relationship. And then, of course, mindfulness, stress release techniques like yoga, meditation. Again, exercise goes back in there, but we already talked about that one. So some people may be like, no, no, no. And that's fine. But it will continue to be the theme of the majority of the treatment options for any of these concerns. But yeah, so there's many different things you can try and do to improve your sexual stamina. And of course, if you have underlying medical conditions that are contributing or causing your decrease in endurance or stamina, you want to talk to your doctor, as those conditions could be worsening and you may need new medication management or something better to help improve those symptoms.
Talk to your doctor.
Yeah, why not?
Are there any certain positions that can be helpful for someone who is struggling with sexual stamina?
Right. So the positions that are going to be recommended for patients out there with premature ejaculation or that are trying to prolong their sexual stamina are going to reduce the amount of energy and effort on the person to improve their stamina and reduce the amount of penile sensitivity on the person with premature ejaculation. So the side to side position is what is one of the recommended options, as well as what they call woman on top for straight people, but man on top for those who practice the other way. And
The
yeah, so
alternative way.
exactly. So those are the options that would help to prolong ejaculation and keep the movements flowing for a little while longer.
Like Ariana Grande say once, switching positions.
Switching positions, but only two of them.
Ah!
But you can get creative. You can make those things do all sorts of movements.
You can switch positions, you can take breaks,
Kegels,
Kegels, drink water.
squeeze.
I think people, after watching those videos, they are having a more well-rounded experience.
I hope so. That's all I really want for people out there, is to have better sex and to enjoy themselves to their fullest. So hopefully that's what we're out there doing.
Are there any downsides to using products that improve our sexual stamina?
So you want to be conscious of what products that you're using. So if it's a supplement, do know there's not a lot of clinical evidence to support supplements in this space that are going to either prolong ejaculation or improve your sexual stamina. So just be aware that you may be purchasing something that's not effective. And some of the times these supplements are not regulated by anyone, so who knows what exactly you're getting. In regards to some of the products out there that can prolong ejaculation, some of the desensitizing sprays, creams, gels, all those can be really helpful to help reduce sensitivity on the genitalia and allow you to last longer. But you do want to be careful because you can over rely on these medications. Sometimes using them too much can prevent you from reaching climax altogether. And then if you're over relying on a supplement or a product, it can cause anxiety if it's not around you or if you don't have it. So balance. Everything is, of course,
Balance.
about balance, and you should be good to go. Just make sure you're not overusing things.
So how can partners navigate through sexual expectations and desires to ensure that both are satisfied and happy?
Yeah, so I think the most important thing, of course, is always going to be communication. So making sure you are expressing what your expectations are, what your desires are, what your concerns are. Of course, this is very complicated and difficult to do if you're in a new relationship and you're not quite comfortable. That's okay, that's expected, but it is also a great way to determine how is your partner going to respond to your concerns. This is maybe going to save you some time if they're not, willing to understand where you're coming from. And I think it's a great way to say, hey, I care about you. I want you to have a great experience. This is what's going on with me. Let's meet in the middle so we can both make sure that we're going to be satisfied at the end. And I think that's the most important thing for everyone out there, is ensuring that everyone involved in the encounter is open, honest, and going to both be satisfied at the end.
And happy.
And happy. Let's just all be happy.
Let's all be happy. Why
Put it in the
not?
water.
Just put it in the water. Put happiness in the water.
Why not? And hopefully that's what this whole talk is meant to do, is to help people reach satisfaction, find more happiness in their sex life, and sort of regain control in their confidence sexually. And so hopefully that's helping people out there. I hope, maybe.
Are you
in a good way.
happier
I
watching
hope.
those videos? Please say yes.
All right, let's get to some misconceptions.
All right, this is my favorite part of the video, the end. Not because it's the end.
Oh,
It's more because we always talk about fun questions that sometimes I thought they were true.
yeah.
Is it true that only older men struggle with poor sexual stamina and premature ejaculation?
Yeah, so this is certainly false. Anyone can experience poor sexual stamina. Often it is associated with some sort of underlying medical condition, or if you are just deconditioned yourself, maybe haven't been exercising as much, or if you haven't been sexually active in a while and you're just kind of getting back into the groove. Of course, there are things you can do to enhance that, and most of it revolves around fitness, diet, lifestyle changes, or making sure that your medical conditions are addressed and not worsening. And in regards to premature ejaculation, we typically actually see it happen in younger men more often. They're
Ah,
just starting sexually, they're learning their bodies. And so we see this often more related to younger people, but it can happen to anyone at any time. So you can have a normal, healthy sex life for quite some time and then just start experiencing premature ejaculation out of nowhere. So both of these concerns can happen at any time in a man's life. It's really just about making sure that they put the energy and effort into getting themselves back to normal and feeling better.
is it true once a man starts experiencing premature ejaculation, they will have it forever?
Great question, and definitely and absolutely not. There are completely reversible ways to combat the symptoms of premature ejaculation, as we talked about, multiple techniques and management skills that you can consider, and also medication. So if you're having this concern, don't feel as though you can't find a way out. Talk to a doctor who may be able to even prescribe you medication early on to help improve the symptoms. And the faster that you get adequate treatment and management, the faster you're going to see those symptoms resolve, and the more likely you'll be able to move on away from having symptoms of premature ejaculation.
Is it true that talking about premature ejaculation or sexual stamina issues will only make the situation worse?
Absolutely not. So a lot of people are going to sort of deflect to not wanting to talk about these issues, as they're very personal, private, and can make you feel self-conscious. But the more open you are with your partner about these issues, clinical evidence does show it reduces the stress and anxiety surrounding premature ejaculation or sexual stamina, which can then further facilitate you improving in those symptoms. So be open, talk to your partner, and talk to your provider. See if there's something that they can do to help you get back on track and get back to having great sex.
Yay.
Yeah, and that's really what this whole topic is about. Hopefully, helping you have better sex with your partner, prolonging the experience. It's a great cardiovascular workout. It's a great way to connect, form intimacy and bonding with your partner. So, hopefully, this was a fun and entertaining, lighthearted, relaxed
I
conversation.
really enjoyed this one. We learned a lot of things tonight, not just scientifically speaking, but we also learned something practical. We learned a couple of techniques, actually, 3 techniques total.
Yeah.
I am definitely going to be working out my pelvic floor more often. Yeah, it was very fun. This was a great topic. I mean, I'm sure people out there who struggle with those concerns, sometimes they think, oh, there's not a solution.
Right.
But there is. Sometimes they're as simple as working out the pelvic floor, right?
Yeah.
Or increasing exercising or changing their diet. I think one of the things that I get to learn here with those videos is that in our body, everything is related, everything is connected, everything is linked.
Yeah, I think so too. I'm always happy to have these conversations with you out of everyone, and it certainly makes it more relaxed for me too. As some of these topics are a little bit rough around the edges, or a little more
Taboos.
taboo. Yeah, exactly. And so I appreciate you being here. I appreciate you all being here. Hopefully you get to like, subscribe, annotate, highlight, drop a pin, all those great things on the channel, so that we can see you next time. We are looking forward to next week, where I'm sure we'll be talking about something else sexually health related.
If you have any recommendations and topics for us to discuss in the future, please let us know in the comments. We'll love to hear from you, and we're excited to see you next time.
Yeah. See you next time. Your stop start technique.
Stop, start. We're definitely going to try the squeeze eventually.
I'm pretty sure we've already tried the squeeze.